at the end of the day, though, the entrepreneurial spirit is so strong and alive in this industry. And we have the good fortune of working in an asset class that is so meaningful. I don't believe technology will replace the human part of the process. A house, whether it's an investment or your primary or whatever it may be, I mean, you make a mistake, that could be pretty painful. So this business will survive and thrive in a way that looks pretty similar today, in my opinion. I just think that there's going to be further consolidation within the industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Glennda's Guru. Y'all, I'm so excited. I have the best Jason Waugh story ever, and I'm going to get into that. I did not actually know Jason from Adam's House Cat, but we started the same day. Yeah. And so at Coldwell Banker, and so we actually got to meet on stage. So I am excited to bring him to you guys because I think that what you are going to enjoy is really what I think is his lane of genius. And I think that that is leadership and growth and building excitement in the teams that he leads. And I am so excited to chat with you. So ladies and gentlemen, before I get any further, welcome to this episode of Glennda's Guru, where I have my friend Jason Waugh, the president of Coldwell Banker Affiliates. Did I say it right?
You did. Okay.
And
thank you so much, my friend. Great to be with you today. I've been waiting for this opportunity to be invited as a guest. So thank you so much. Great to see you.
It's so good to see you. So y'all, this is hilarious. I've got to tell this story. It is my favorite story. So I had been asked to speak in San Diego, and it was it was almost exactly a year ago this week. And I was from Phoenix to Boston, back to San Diego. And then I needed to be in LA for this meeting at a particular time. And I'm telling the organizer, I'm like, hey, look, I just don't think I can do the San Diego thing because I can't get to LA in time for this event that I have that night. And he's like, no, it's no problem. Jason is going to drive you. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but I do not need to be in the car with some random person that I do not know for like 3 hours from San Diego to LA. And I'm like, who is Jason? With my big Southern accent. He goes, yeah, he's like the president of Coldwell Banker. And I'm like, oh, that Jason. Okay, I didn't realize that. I'm happy to jump in the car with him. So we had so much fun. That was such a great event that we got to speak at, both of us. And then we hopped in the car, and little did we know we'd both been invited to the same fancy party. We were both going to the same event that we had to be in LA for. So that was my introduction to you, Jason.
Well, I've worn many hats in my career, and none was more enjoyable than being your chauffeur. So we had a great 2.5 hours, a little LA traffic to navigate, but it was an honor and a pleasure to spend that time with you.
So I've got to ask you, so they tell you that you're going to be in the car. I mean, anytime that you're in the car for 2.5 hours with a stranger, it's like there is some apprehension to that because you're in a contained environment and you don't know me any more than I know you. And were you ever concerned, like, what if she is a complete and total lunatic?
Not one iota, and it's interesting. My wife can attest to this. I actually enjoy those moments, those opportunities. I don't look at that as I'm a prisoner, which I think a lot of people do, especially when it's a stranger. Maybe you want to decompress before the next event. But, I always look at those as opportunities to spend time. And I'm a curious person by nature. And so it gave me an opportunity to get to know you personally versus beyond the virtual world that we've all gotten to know and love. So, no, I embraced it with open arms.
Well, it was awesome. And until I guessed your birthday and you nearly drove off the road. That was a little scary, but we had so much fun. And you're right. It is, it's such an interesting opportunity and something that I have seen you do really really well. And that is engage and connect with people with what feels like off the clock.
Mm.
Whenever I talk with you, I don't really ever feel like that I am, that I have to be on or that I'm being interviewed or I'm being watched. I really feel like that is one of your superpowers, is connecting and engaging with people.
Well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. I will say, like many people, I've got a lot of gaps and we've got some gifts. I think one of my gifts is just my curiosity with people. And I just enjoy that time, and I enjoy time spending with people and getting to know them and asking questions. And, I'm pretty skilled at remembering certain events that give me an opportunity to follow up. And I think at the end of the day, if you can make people feel valued and special, then that's going to serve your interests well long term. So,
how did you get into real estate? Like, have you always been in real estate?
So I'm an SOB, the son of a broker, even though I'm a reformed lawyer. So an SOB in some circles may mean something else, but I grew up in and around this business and had a great role model in my father, Bert Waugh. And so I'm 19 years old. I went to college and law school at Pepperdine in Southern California. I come home after my freshman year, and I get a job with two of my buddies from high school setting glass at a glass factory. And, it was a summer gig and it was great with my buddies, but every day and night we're coming home, cut fingers, cut wrists and, whatnot. And I say to my father one night, I was like, there's got to be a better way to make a buck. And he said, and looked me dead in the eyes and said, you should get your real estate license. And you do at 19, you do what your parents tell you to do, or at least your father. And so I studied on my lunch breaks that summer, passed the exam before I went back to college. And the rest is history. I returned home every summer, sold real estate. And, I did. And I kept my license active all those years when I went to law school, and then post law school is in another career, but kept my license active. My father was always in my ear. Are you ever going to return to real estate? And, fast forward to early 2005, I was ready for a transition career-wise. Felt good about what I accomplished in another career. My father posed the question again. He probably regrets it the last time, because it then took us 6 months to negotiate my contract, because, if I was going to pivot and move cross country, because I was living in South Carolina at the time, I needed to envision a path forward that made sense for my future and for him and for the business and whatnot. And we aligned on what that looked like, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. And you've been at Coldwell Banker now. Well, I should know the answer to this because we started like one day apart.
Right.
So October, I guess, of 2023, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And you took a position that puts you over the affiliates. So like the franchises and it's so interesting to me. We had the opportunity to be in Montana together.
Yeah.
And I guess those are franchise or affiliates. What is the correct term? Tell me.
So they're the franchisees. So affiliates is just that just covers the entire network, but okay. Individual owner operators are franchisees.
And that must be so fun. I think that those people are so much more fun than the corporate folks. Don't tell Comedy I said that.
Hey, I love everybody that's affiliated with Coldwell Banker, regardless if it's what side of the house it's on. But I think a franchisee is the classic, entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
That comes with sales, that at some point in their careers felt like, I want to lead people and I love this industry. And so they sought to start their own company and decided that Coldwell Banker was the best business partner, and then built their businesses. And so, at the heart of both sides, it's really that entrepreneurial spirit that really is the common denominator. It's just a different path. And it's it's been a blast because I've operated in every aspect. My family, we owned and operated an independent brokerage that started in Portland, Oregon in 1955. We then became a Prudential franchise in the mid 90s. Prudential exited the real estate business. We became a Berkshire Hathaway home services company. Then we sold the Home Services of America. So then I worked for them. And, after 30 years with one company, even though it touched different brands, at the core was one company, I made the decision to pursue this opportunity 2 years ago. And so it's been, that was a pretty monumental decision, as you can imagine. And, but it's been a great ride. This network has been so good to me, and hopefully I've given at least half back of what it's given me.
Well, I love hanging out with you. I love being around you and just watching you network through the room, lead the room, because you really do a great job when you're speaking and when your leadership skills, because you keep it long enough to cover the important stuff and short enough to keep it interesting. And you are really, really good at, and I follow you on social media, and a lot of your posts are about leadership and growth. And I feel like that kind of is your heart, is this leadership and growth path. It's almost like everybody you touch, that's your goal, is how can I help them grow? How can I help them become a better leader? Am I on the right track, or am I just seeing something that's not there?
No, 100%. And I will tell you what my father said to me and what his mentor said to him, because he started in sales too before he transitioned into management and then ownership. And the owner of that company said to him, Bert, you could impact more lives running this organization than you can any one buyer or seller at one time. And for him, that was the hook. And he is the quintessential servant leader. And so I've had a great role model up close. He said those same words to me, and it resonated. And that's the impact I wanted to take my career in, versus just individual sales for my personal brand and business. And so it was just a choice that resonated with, I guess, my DNA, if you will.
I love that. Well, there's a lot going on in the real estate industry. And, people would say that I was being soft on the interview if I didn't say, hey, what do you think about everything that's going on? There's lots going on. And you are in a position of, over these franchisees, over these kind of independent, companies. Where do you see the real estate industry going? What is the benefit, I guess, and what is the future landscape of the real estate brokerage, the way that they're owned, the way that they're run? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, I think we'll see continued consolidation like we've seen in other industries. I mean, candidly, This industry is just probably playing catch up from that perspective. When you look at hospitality, you look at the automobile industry, I mean, so much consolidation, brands that have multiple brands. So I think we'll see continued consolidation. At the end of the day, though, the entrepreneurial spirit is so strong and alive in this industry. And we have the good fortune of working in an asset class that is so meaningful. The experience is so important and so meaningful. I don't believe technology will replace the human part of the process. It's not like, if ski season's upon us, if I needed new skis and boots and an outfit, I run out and get all that. And I get on the chairlift for the first time and I realize, God, these boots are uncomfortable. No way I'm going to survive a day. It's unfortunate. I spent, $1,000 on all this, but I can survive that. A house, whether it's an investment or your primary or whatever it may be, I mean, you make a mistake, that could be pretty painful. And so the professional guidance that will never be replicated by a machine or somebody that you don't have a relationship with it's just too important. So this business will survive and thrive in a way that looks pretty similar today, in my opinion. I just think that there's going to be further consolidation within the industry, which again, you're probably playing catch up to some other industries where that's already been accelerated through the years.
But I think it's great. I'll be honest with you. I think there is so much opportunity. Whatever business model you pick is whatever business model you pick. Some agents want the least expensive. They want to pay the least expensive fees. They want to do everything themselves. Some agents want done for you. Some brokerages run traditionally. Some brokerages run in a fee structure. I think that there is something for everybody, no matter what you're looking for as an agent. I guess maybe my next question is, what is the biggest challenge for you? Is it with the from a brokerage? Is it from agents? Like, what are and when you look at your week, you look at your month, where is the place where you think, oh, this is going to be dicey? Like, where's the challenge?
Well, challenges are all around us, but if you peel back the onion, and I try to keep things very simple. I mean, I think we can tend to overcomplicate things, and through analysis, we get to this place of paralysis. And I try to just be very pragmatic and very simple in how I approach things. And at the end of the day, I think it all boils down to self-awareness. I mean, if I ever write a book, it's going to be on self-awareness. I think it's the one attribute that separates, all of us and separates success from struggle, is really having clarity around who you are, who you want to be, and what you do and how you do it. So yes, there is space and room for multiple business models. What you have to do is commit to who you are, who you want to be, what experience you want to create for your customer base. And then you got to bring the enthusiasm every single day and be grateful for those opportunities. You do that, you're going to enjoy more success than you ever expected. So the challenge, I think, for any leader in any industry is, and I think leadership is always about modeling the right behavior, which includes the right attitude. And so keeping people in the proper headspace, I think, is the ultimate challenge, and getting them to see the opportunities rather than the obstacles. So it's, I talk an awful lot about what separates success and struggle, in my opinion, is our internal map. And that's our mindset, our attitude, our perspective. Because one of my mentors said to me that, and I'll never, ever forget this, and I say it and repeat it over and over and over again: control your controllables. Focus on the things you can influence and impact. And those are internal. It's our mindset, our attitude, our perspective. We have zero control on external stuff. And so what the Fed's going to do in their next meeting with interest rates, we can all speculate. I won't spend any time giving any thought, because I can't influence or impact it.
Yeah. My crystal ball is foggy every day except today. I mean, it's like, what the hell? I had a coach that said to me, I'll never forget this, probably some of the best advice I ever got. And that was, if you can control your time, your money, and your emotions, you can master anything. And 100%. That stuck with me. And when I implemented that into my daily life, into my business, it really changed the trajectory of my business and of my life. Because I had never really thought about my ability to control those things. Yeah. And so I think you're exactly right. Mindset.
Well, you have such an inspiring story, and you shared that with me, and I'll respect that in confidence in on our drive there from San Diego to LA. But I mean, I know you've practiced that. It's one thing to be told that, but then to actually execute against that, I know you have, and you're an inspiration. And I know you know that. I hope you know that. But I know you live those principles as well.
I try. It's funny. I was on a call today, leading a call, and I made the comment, people don't need more knowledge. They need more action. Like it's 2025 for God's sake. We're almost in 2026. Like there isn't anything you can't chat GPT or Google to figure out how to do it. You don't need more knowledge. You need more action. And, it's so funny putting people in the right place to self-awareness, know your strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
And when you figure out what your weaknesses are, put somebody in place to execute. So like for me, I can see the vision, I can see the idea, like this is what I want to do, but I don't want to micromanage it. I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to tell you what I want done and you do it. Yeah. That's my deal. And and I'm very clear. I was talking to a videographer today and I said to him, I said, look, I want to do this and on video. And he's like, well, how involved do you want to be? I said, I don't. Like literally, like this, I want to, this is my concept.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in, I'm going to do the voiceover. I'm going to come in with the story, lickety split, and you're going to make it all come together. And he's like, I've never had anybody that gave me that much creative control. And I'm like, buddy, you go right ahead. Cause I know he does. And this is the thing is like, when you're trying to control somebody else, you're literally strangling them from their own genius, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's so funny. And I've referenced my dad multiple times and I'll stop. This is the last Burt Waugh story, but I can tell you exactly where we were. We were in this stretch of highway between the town I grew up in and the neighboring town. And I was in high school. And I'm not sure what led to the conversation, but here's the statement. Surround yourself with people that are better than you and smarter than you, and it will always work out for you. And I've just, since high school, I've remembered that, and I've always tried to apply that. And I've had the good fortune of surrounding myself with people that are better than me and smarter than me, and it just has, worked out. So I think, having, you got to have self-confidence, but you got to balance that, keep that ego at home when you leave for the day, and know that there's people out there that are smarter than you and better than you. Seek out those people, put them around you, and let them do what they do best, and you all win. So probably the best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
That is so true. And I never really believed that. I always thought that's so silly. Like I want to be the smartest person in the room until I started playing tennis. And when I started playing tennis, I noticed that when I played with the girls that sucked, I sucked. And when I played with the girls that played better than me, I played better.
Yeah.
My A game came out with the girls that were great, not with the girls that sucked.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm a visual person, like I need to experience it.
Yeah.
And it was literally when I saw that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like you get better when iron sharpens iron.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that. And that's one thing I loved about Gen Blue. I had so much fun at that Gen Blue thing. My favorite part was John Reyes. I loved John Reyes, the AI expert. Yeah. He was amazing. Yeah. And I also really, really, really enjoyed. In fact, let me write that down. I'm going to be in San Diego in January. I think I wasn't going to go, but I think I'm going to go. And I think he's close to there. So I think I'm going to hunt him down like a hound dog. You know me, I can find anybody. It's scary. But anyway, so what I loved was that AI innovator session that you were in. Yeah. And those 5 people, I thought that was so great. Where do you see AI being implemented correctly?
Yeah, great question. And I've got one thought before I answer that. What I was so impressed with, because let's face it, everybody knows who you are. I saw so many people wanting time with you, and you were so gracious, would always stop, give freely of your time, which is, speaks to your abundance mentality and mindset, which I just adore. But you were in the front row. I mean, Glennda Baker's in the front row, taking notes, taking pictures of the content on the screen. Like, to me, that is somebody that just has a thirst to learn and always be growing. So kudos to you, and know that I noticed that and recognized that.
I can't believe you saw me doing that. I took took video of each one's presentation.
I know you did.
So then I could bring it home and implement it. And that's the thing. Okay, so go ahead. So tell me.
Yeah, no, so just know that, I observed that and was highly impressed. AI, we have to embrace it. I mean, you can't, shun from it or think that it's a fad. And I think most people are beyond that now. I mean, questioning, its shelf life and is it here to stay type of thing. I think that's kind of probably old news in the rearview mirror. I think the question is, are we applying it efficiently? And I believe all of technology, so not just AI, but all of technology, to me, this is Jason Waugh's bias, is intended to create efficiencies operationally behind the scenes, so we can re-leverage our time and repurpose that with people and spend more time with people and spend more time fostering sincere and genuine and meaningful relationships that create great experiences. If you're using technology to actually facilitate that relationship and replicate that relationship, I think that's probably not a long-term sustainable path for your business. So it's operational efficiency, so you can repurpose that time that you're investing there and reinvest it into relationships. Or maybe you're at a place where, like, I'm in maintenance mode. I like where my business is. I'm comfortable. I want to take more vacations. I want to spend more time with the grandkids or my spouse or significant other or whatever it may be. But it's about repurposing time, and in whatever form or fashion that looks like for, your stage of life.
Yeah. I think that a lot of agents are just, they don't understand the capability or or their own ability to implement AI into their business in a positive manner. If I'm going to go to the conference, I'm going to sit in the front row. Like, I am there to learn. I'm not on my phone. I'm not goofing off. I'm not on my Instagram. Yeah. Like, I am there to learn. I want to drink that in, because I know you are kidding yourself if you think that you can just check the boxes and go through life. If you are not literally taking advantage of the thirst to be curious, the thirst to learn, getting on the bandwagon, not reluctantly, but embracing it and jumping up to the front to learn, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you even still here? Why are you taking oxygen out of the room that I am in if you aren't going to take it seriously? Nothing makes my head spin around snot fly to my nose faster than some agent that sits in the damn second row on their Instagram. Like, hush, you get out. If you aren't paying attention, then why are you even here?
Yeah, just a missed opportunity. And, it's, it is fascinating to me. I mean, and I was a sociology major in college, so I love the study of human behavior. Why do we do the things that we do? And it fascinates me. And obviously you've got this personality that you just have a hunger to grow and to learn. And that you're going to capitalize on these opportunities and be present. I mean, I think that was one of the keys, I think, in any relationship business, which we are in, is being present. Somebody said to me one time, their whole goal is to make the individual or group of people in front of them, that at the end of that interaction or engagement, they have this feeling that that person was so present, made them feel like they were the only people in the room and around. And the only way to pull that off is, you got to be present, engaged, and locked in to that specific situation in that moment in time. If you do that, you will win with people, and your business will multiply and compound year after year after year with that sort of discipline and approach.
That is so true. I do certain things and I don't notice that I ever do them, but other people notice that I do stuff. And today I was in a meeting and the person that I was in the meeting with was about to tell me something, and I could tell that this was something that was very important to her. And so I touched my cheek and she looked at me and she's like, "Is everything okay?" And I realized that when it's something that I really need to, hey, listen, that's me tapping myself like, hey, be an active listener right here. And that's the thing is like when you're present with somebody, when you're an active listener, when you're taking an interest rather than trying to be interested, you learn so much. You learn so much about them and you learn so much about yourself because how you react to what someone says a lot about you. And it goes back to that self-awareness. It goes back to that mindset. Where are you? And I think that you got to be in this, like, I think the most successful people at that event that we went to in LA, what I found most interesting was you probably had in that one room, you probably had I would guess somewhere between 50 and $70 million in GCI in that one room that we were in that night.
Yeah. I mean, since I have kind of a purview behind the sheets, I'd argue it was even more than that, but it's a big number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless. Yeah.
Well, but it wasn't a big party.
No. That's so rich in talent.
And there wasn't anybody in that room that was jockeying for attention.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody in that room that was gatekeeping. There wasn't anybody in that room who wasn't filled with the mindset of abundance to share and love and be present in the moment. There wasn't anybody on the patio overlooking LA, on their phone. Everybody was engaged and excited and enthusiastic about their product, and their product was them, and they were there sharing and excited. And I have to tell you, of the things that I love about Coldwell Banker, and this is obviously not a Coldwell Banker pep rally, but one of the things that I love, and one of the things I probably love the most, is the quality of the people and their willingness to share the playbook.
Yeah.
There isn't, give me your email address and let me share the playbook with you. There isn't that kind of what can I get from you what can I give you a little bit of so I can get the rest of you?
Yeah.
Everybody there. And I love that. And it's very much a culture thing. How important do you think that culture is? Because again, you're on the other side. I'm going to say that you're in the bedrooms, because I always look at the franchisee, the affiliates, as the bedrooms, because they're separate little rooms. And I look at corporate as like the living room and, the kitchen, right? So how do you get the culture excited when they really are each kind of their own little independent people?
Yeah. Well, listen. Everybody wants to be a part of something. I believe that. And everybody enjoys growth and growing. Even if it's not my personal growth, I want to be around groups and people that are growing.
Yeah.
We'll say, and from the very first day in this role to today, I've impressed upon the importance of this opportunity with our internal team, that we have such a rich opportunity. Every organization does in any industry when you get to a critical mass. And that's this. How do you take a large organization or enterprise and make it feel smaller and more interconnected? And we talk a lot about that on a regular basis. That is one of our goals at Coldwell Banker. Everybody feels like they're a part of something smaller, when in reality, it's 100,000 agents across 48 countries and territories. It's pretty big. And yet, when my time has come to sunset and move on down the road, my hope is, and I know our team's hope is, that everybody that's a part of it says, boy, it sure felt smaller and more interconnected because I had these personal relationships. Jason knew me and knew my business. And we have very, very intentional and strategic activities that myself and our team perform daily and weekly that all align back to that goal of making a large network feel smaller and more interconnected. I'm hyper focused on that. Our team is. And we have very specific activities that align with that goal and that effort.
I love that. And you know what? That just reminded me, when we were in Montana, I told you, I said, the church that I go to is like a mega church, right? It's a really big church. And what they have done really well is making small environments.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, the small environments that they name are rooms in a house. So like the foyer, the living room, the kitchen, the attic, and each one has like their own purpose. Like, so when you're walking in the door and you're getting to know who everybody is, you're in the foyer, and then, you're in the living room. That's kind of more the formal area, and then you get to the kitchen. Everybody knows everybody in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And the attic, like that's where all the fun stuff, that's where the game room is, right? And when we were in Montana, I said to you, hey, I'm going to share with you this framework. And I didn't do that, but I made myself a note. And I'm going to share that with you, because what I would, and I said that, made the same comment to Comedy, is you've got hundreds of thousands of agents, all of these offices, all of these affiliates, all of these countries. How do you take that and make these intimate settings? But I got to tell you, we're doing a great job, because I love that we got to spend and this is the thing. When you share food with somebody, they're no longer a stranger. And we were at that farm to table with the horses in this beautiful Montana mountainside. You want to talk about an intimate setting of, I don't know, maybe there were 70 people there or something.
Yeah.
But you felt like that you were literally, like I was right across from you.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting to me that Coldwell Banker has really done a great job at making those small environments. And you have certainly been a leader in doing that, is not only for the affiliates, but for everybody.
Well, listen, I love Coldwell Banker. If you're with Coldwell Banker, it doesn't really matter what side of the house you're on.
That's right. Whether you're on the bedrooms or in the kitchen.
Yeah. And, we have 5 teenage daughters, and, you don't use the term fair in our house. Life's not fair. You can't use the term. We believe in equitable outcomes, but that doesn't mean identical outcomes. And so, we just, looking for equitable, but
equitable outcomes. I'm going to talk to my kids about that. Equitable outcomes, especially now that we're here at Christmas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a tough time of year as a parent with multiples. So
yeah, 5 girls. I can't even imagine.
5 girls.
That's awesome.
I'm blessed.
Abundantly blessed.
Yes, right.
With a lot of estrogen. I'm just cutting up. Anyway. Okay. No wonder you don't have any hair. But anyway, so Jason, can I ask you some rapid fire questions?
Of course, you can ask me whatever you want.
Be careful. That's not what you said earlier. Okay. All right. Your go-to mantra when navigating uncertainty.
Control your controllables. Control your controllables. I mean, you just got to remind yourself, can I impact or influence that? No, move on. I mean, what can you control? What can you impact? What can you influence? If you can't, then you just move on. Don't give it any time or attention.
I love that. I have to write it down. Because it's so funny. I take these notes while I'm doing my podcast, and then I forget it's my podcast. I can literally go back and listen to it whenever I want to, right? But I want to write it down because Well,
Repetition.
this is the thing, is that you are 56% more likely to remember it if you wrote it down. And so that's why I always like to write it down.
I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, 56% more effective. The most underrated leadership skill in real estate today.
Self-awareness. And I wouldn't even put in real estate. I just say, being a human being, be self-aware, put the ego to the side, understand your gifts, understand where your gaps are, find those people that are better than you and more talented than you and smarter than you, and surround yourself with those people. But self-awareness. I mean, that's my bias, self-awareness.
Where are your gifts and where are your gaps? Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say that a little bit louder. Be self-aware and understand where are your gifts and where are your gaps. That was good. I had got to write that down too. Okay. All right. One quality you always look for when you're promoting or mentoring someone.
Well, it's interesting. I don't believe anybody can or should burden themselves with trying to motivate somebody. I believe in inspiring folks, and I've got this morning mindset, inspirational quote I send to my team every morning, including my kids. But if you're not self-motivated, just you got to find something else to do where you will motivate yourself. And so so that's almost not even, I don't look at that, or that may be something that if somebody wasn't self-motivated, I probably wouldn't spend much time there.
Right.
I look for enthusiasm. I mean, I think bringing enthusiasm to everything we do is that can compensate for a lot of gaps, for a lot of deficiencies. An enthusiastic. Now you have to have a certain intellect based on whatever it is that you're whatever your career or profession is. But I look for this business that I'm in today. I look for enthusiasm because I can skill up almost anything else. What you can't do is instill more enthusiasm in somebody. I want to be surrounded with somebody that is going to be really, really enthusiastic about the opportunity and grateful for the opportunity. That's what I look for.
I love that. So, it's so funny because I always say, be enthusiastic about your product. And I am my product. I am a big believer in being enthusiastic about yourself and your abilities. And when I first started in real estate, I would, and still to this day, every expired listing, when I send them a handwritten note, I always say enthusiastically, Glennda Baker. Nobody ever closes with enthusiastically except me. So I'm going to hold that one. Okay. Your morning.
You know what? Let's just say this for the audience. I did not know that about you. So we're just so aligned, in our thinking. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I literally, you can go back on my social media. Literally, I am enthusiastic about my product every single day. I think to myself, I'm enthusiastic about the houses I list, the buyers that I talk to. I am enthusiastic about my product, and my product is me. Because this is the thing. If you're not excited about yourself and your abilities,
that's right.
Who else is going to be?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, I want to live my life that way.
Yeah.
And you're like that too. You're excited about life. You're excited about when I've been around you, you also ate a lot of that candy. Now that I think about it,
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up. Yeah.
I digress. No wonder you're so enthusiastic. You ate so much damn candy. No, seriously. That's one thing I noticed, that you are so enthusiastic and you are very present. Most people don't realize this about me because I'm such a talker, but I am very much an observer of people. Yeah, you are.
Oh yeah.
And I observed you and your wife over by the fence, overlooking the field. And I think you can tell so much about people when they don't realize they're being watched. Because when you're being watched, is that really you, or are you putting on a face or a show for everybody else? But when you don't realize you're being watched, It is your body language, how you look at someone, that you really see their true intent. And after I had that opportunity to spend time with you guys in Montana, it was from an outsider looking in, such a love story, and such a mutual respect for each other's accomplishments. It was something very beautiful to watch. So I hadn't had the opportunity to tell you that, but I meant to pass that along and just say I loved watching that with you guys.
Thank you. She's my rock. I mean, that's my yeah, she's amazing. I'm in awe of her. So yeah. Thank you.
Isn't it awesome to be in a relationship with somebody that you have so much respect for and so much adoration for?
Yeah.
I think that those two things go much further than people realize.
Well, I just followed my dad's lead. He told me, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and better than you. And I did that with her. So, you know, I'm
and it's working out well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've got just a couple more questions. I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
What's the most surprising lesson you've learned since stepping into the CEO seat?
Surprising lesson. That's an interesting question. And candidly, I don't know how to answer from the perspective of, I turned 51 this year, which means I've been around this business for 42 years. And so the great thing about this business, every day is new, every transaction's new, every experience is, new, but the same, from an operations perspective is the same. So I don't know that there's, because of this role the last few years, there's a lesson learned. I think what is interesting is the moment in time in which I made this transition. The industry has navigated a lot over the last 2 years. I mean, forget about the market or the economy. I mean, because those they're cycles. And for those of us who've been here 20, 30, 40 years, we've navigated a lot of different cycles. But just the industry practices and noise that we've had to navigate. And I think it's probably been the noisiest environment that this industry's ever navigated the last, 2-3 years, just with change and some consolidation and, all that. So I don't know that it's a surprise, but it's certainly ironic timing to make a change from a organization you spent 30 years with and one particular role 18 years, and make that change to a brand new organization, although I would say a like sandbox in terms of values, value proposition, business model, but just the amount of change that we've had to navigate and do that, have a leadership role with a new audience. It'd be a lot different probably doing that same thing with the group that you've led for decades and decades, which to me then has made this opportunity and experience that much more exciting. Right. And so it's been a thrill.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff to come, I think. What's your favorite book? Do you read?
Well, after law school, I vowed not to, because, you do so much. I say that facetiously. I will say this, anything John Maxwell or Patrick Lencioni, I'll read their content, because it's all about leadership and it's all about leading teams. And, one thing the 5 dysfunctions of a team, which is always top of my mind, because I want to lead great teams and be a great team leader. And I talk a lot about this within, my team, is we will not live in artificial harmony. It is better than okay to debate and have different views and do that in a healthy way. Once we make a decision, though, there's 100% consensus and we're moving down the road. But before that, we just can't afford to live in artificial harmony. And that was, one of Patrick's takeaways for me in that book. But, anything John Maxwell too, I attended his leadership conference in 2013. That really impacted me and had a meaningful impact on my evolution and perspective. So anything those two right, I'm the first buyer.
I love it. I love it. Jason, thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little while today. I really appreciate it. I knew I was going to have such a great time with you. I've been looking forward to this. I sent you a message. I said, hey, would you be on my podcast? And you were like, absolutely. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time, especially time when you're on the road. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're the best. I appreciate you.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, today I had the opportunity to spend time with Jason Waugh, the president of Coldwell Banker Affiliates. And I will tell you, if you want to know anything about leadership and growth, you have got to follow him. The nuggets that he passes along are so, so valuable. So, as I always say, my name is Glennda Baker. I'm a real estate agent in Atlanta, Georgia. Send me a text, tag me in a post, give me a call. That's what I love the most, because I'd love the opportunity to talk real estate with you today. See ya.
Take care.